Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki. Durlabhamanusho deho dehinam shana bhangurai tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priyadarshinaha Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Jai Śrī Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipers, so much for joining on this auspicious occasion. Today is Sita Navmi, the glorious appearance of Srimati Sita Devi. So very, very holy day, and we will read Bhagavatam and also try to read a little bit about Shri Sita Devi. Okay, so we are reading Canto 10, Chapter 7, entitled The Killing of the Demon Trinavrata, but the section we are reading in particular is about Shakatasura. So let's read this verse. We paused at text 16 yesterday, so we are going to read from text number 17, which is on our screens right now. Vipra mantra vido yuktas tairya proktas tatha shishaha ta nishphala bhavishyanti na kadachid api sfutam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. The Brahmanas, who were completely expert in the chanting the Vedic hymns, were all yogis fully equipped with mystic powers. Whatever blessings they spoke were certainly never fruitless. Purport: Brahmanas fully equipped with the Brahmanical qualifications are always yogis fully powerful in mystic yoga. Their words never fail. In every transaction with other members of society, Brahmanas are certainly dependable. In this age, however, one must take into account that Brahmanas are uncertain in their qualifications because there are no Yajnik Brahmanas. All Yagyas are forbidden. The only Yagya recommended in this age is Sankirtana Yagya. Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumedasah. Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Yagya is meant to satisfy Vishnu. Yagyart karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha. Because in this age there are no qualified brahmanas, people should perform yagya by chanting the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra. Yagyai Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Hi Sumedasah. Life is meant for yagya, and yagya is performed by the chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you for joining. So this is the kind of the last verse in this story of Shakatasura, and Srila Prabhupada is elaborately explaining in multiple verses, not just this one, that how in this day and age the only recommended yajna is the chanting of the holy name, because there are no qualified brahmanas, and no, they have different hidden agendas and stuff like that. Of course, the brahmanas present at the ceremony of Nanda Maharaj to offer yajna there were not ordinary brahmanas. They're very, very powerful. They had mystic yoga. Their blessings were very potent. They were all great souls. But in Kali Yuga, the real yajna is the chanting of the holy name, which we all must do. And that is the Yuga Dharma, Nama Sankirtana. So this is about Shakatasur, but Shakatasur represents something. Like all these demons represent an anartha in the life of a sadhaka. They're not just stories, they are stories with great lessons. So Shakatasura, as we discussed in the previous life, he was in the last classes, that he was Utkacha in his previous life. He was Hiranyaksha's son and had a very great lofty body, very proud of his body, his bodily features and stuff like that. You know, demons are very proud of everything they possess, like Nalakuber and Manigriv, kind of similar situation. They were also proud of their beauty. They were the sons of Kuvera, and they were playing with girls, and then Narad Muni came and they did not even offer respect. So something very similar happened to Utkacha also, and he became the body of a ghost. Narad, so Lomas Rishi, Lomas Muni cursed him to become a ghost. But you're proud of your body, you become a ghost which has no body. Now, and later by Krishna's touch, you will be delivered, which he was delivered. Now the question comes, what is Shakatasur? Shakatasur represents heavy load. There were a lot of heavy loads kept on that Shakata. So Shakatasur represents that heavy burden, which we also carry, the burden of bad habits, the burden of self-created desires, like for example, we had our meal, let's say we had our meal and someone say, hey, will you like to have like a biscuit, like a crackjack biscuit or something? Although we are not really hungry, because let's say we just had our meal, but the mind, that mental hunger does not go away. So the mind says, eat it, and the mind eats it through the medium of the body, and then overeating, over accumulating, working hard like a donkey. So doing donkey-like activities, self-created duties, carrying up this heavy burden of materialistic life with self-created duties. And then we become bound in this. And then we have no time for Krishna consciousness, for our chanting, for our reading, hearing, for our services. So basically giving up the unnecessary material duties. We should do dutiful work, not be lazy. Laziness and ignorance are not laziness and ignorance we have to cut through. The beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text number 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyas adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigata jvaraha. Vigata jvara. Jvara means again lethargy. Vigata jvara. O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, and with no claims to proprietorship, and be free from lethargy, fight. So yes, we must do our duties in a very dutiful manner, without complacency, with full knowledge, without desire for profit and no claim for proprietorship. That is dutiful work. So, like a discipline, lethargy can be overcome by discipline. Like we have a morning routine, we have an evening routine, we have so many things to do in the day. In Chanakya Niti, there is a verse that Sukham chet tyajet vidya, vidya chet tyajet sukham. What that means, those who want sukha, oh, very comfortable, take it easy, relax. Tyajet vidya, forget about knowledge, forget about anything good. For anything good in life, we have to give up laziness. We have to work hard for it, work beautifully towards it. And one who says vidya chet, those who want vidya, knowledge, tyajet sukham, give up sukha. Give up sukha means don't be lazy. Give up that laziness, that callousness, that comfortable, being in the comfortable zone. Just take it easy. That's Shakatasura. So overcoming the bad habits, the past bad habits, the baggage. The bad habits represent baggage. So we should ask, is it really required? Is it really required? Is it going to be helpful in my Krishna consciousness? So this is Shakatasura. Any other comments anyone has before we move on? Anyone wants to share any reflection from the Shakatasura episode? Anything you liked from the Shaktasura story? We just winding up the Shaktasura and we'll move on to the Nityaṁ.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, for Shakatasura, the overcoming the bad habits. So all of us has some bad habits, Prabhuji, and like with bhakti, with practicing Krishna consciousness, so that we can overcome. And obviously with Krishna's mercy, we can overcome those, right, Prabhuji? Like, it's very hard to take all the bad habits down, but with time, we can just able to control those in our life, right, Prabhuji?
That's correct. The time, how much time it will take is proportional to how much we are endeavoring. If one is sincerely endeavoring, then one will be able to come faster. If one is not sincerely endeavoring or not giving full endeavor to overcome, then it will take more time, naturally, right? For example, any disease one has, let's say. Now, one can be lazy about curing the disease and keep drinking soda and ice cream and take medicine also once in a while if he remembers. Now, he may get cured after, depending upon the severity of the disease and depending upon the severity of the attitude towards curing that disease. So both are important, right? The disease is very strong. What is the disease? Forgetfulness of Krishna, attachment to Maya. Now, that is basically not in our control, right? We already are affected with lust, anger, greed, envy. What is in our control is our endeavor to cure it. How sincerely we are chanting the holy name, how sincerely we are praying, how sincerely we are avoiding the factors which will bolster the disease, which will support the disease. For example, let's say if one has attachment to desires, and then one keeps watching TV and TV, what will come? New ads will come, new car, new this, new that, new Hollywood, Bollywood. Then one's attachment will not, because dhyayata vishayan punsa. When we watch those things, then the mind will go in the mind, and the mind will want to buy those things, and the mind will be seeing opposite sex and all that stuff, which happens in movies and cartoons and advertisements. Then it will be harder to overcome. So it's proportional to, yes, and then Krishna will also, yes, Krishna will help. Devi Esha Gunamai, Mam Maya Duratya. Ma Mevi Prapadyante Maya Mitantal. Because as you said rightly, they're very hard to overcome. We cannot overcome on our own, but we have to show Krishna that yes, I'm doing my best to overcome. Then he will help us overcome.
Yes.
Thank you. Very nice you mentioned. Any other comments, any reflections anyone has?
I was about to say the same, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for saying that. I think Shakatasura is within me always, like the laziness and the comfort, so forth, that you just explained, sitting in the couch and so forth. So which is again, if we overcome, again we have to be careful, right? We shouldn't, I shouldn't be too much with anxiety that I shouldn't go beyond, and I shouldn't go below too, right? If I go below, then it's too much of a lazy, which is already covered. If I go beyond, then it's more of an anxiety thing, right? So very hard to be balanced, but have to try, definitely.
You're so sincere, humble, and genuine. Therefore, you're speaking this. So yes, this is not your heart story, but I guess everyone's heart. But genuine people are self-introspective, and they are always trying to improve, right? So that's what we're all trying. Yes, we have shortcomings. Yes, we have weaknesses. Yes, we acknowledge and accept them. But along with all that, there's a genuine desire to reform. That's bhakti. That's why we're all here, to improve.
That's correct, Prabhu. And one good thing is the satsang that we are having now, right? Otherwise, if there is no class, yes, self-motivated people definitely will read a book, Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or so. But if we have a class, it's like attendance. We have to be there, and it feels like, okay, I'm missing the class, let me join, and then that's way of connecting to Krishna. So thank you for that.
Thank you for your sincere participation. Anyone else wants to share before we'll read something about Sita Devi today, since it's Sita Navmi? Okay, so I guess let's read. About Sita Devi. Today is Sita Navmi, and let's read a beautiful article written by Shri Giriraj Swami Maharaj. So today is Sita Navmi, the appearance day of Srimati Sita Devi, the eternal consort of Sri Ramachandra Bhagwan. Shri Sita Devi ki jai, Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai. She appeared as the daughter of King Janaka, one of the 12 Mahajans, who are the great authorities in Krishna consciousness, and thus one of her names is Janaki, the daughter of Janaka. To begin, we shall read from Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya chapter 9. Lord Chaitanya travels to the holy places. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya, Jai Nityaṁ, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jai Bhāgavata-sevayā. So maybe one devotee can read, so devotees can read in turns from this point here. A few lines, at least everyone can read. Yes, Lakshay, you wanted to read, right? This is Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta, so this is the Bengali meter. Yes, Shilpa Mataji, maybe you can read.
I'll try, Prabhu.
Yeah, please.
Text 178, right? Okay. Dakshina Madhura Ela Kama Kosti Heite Tahan Deka Hela Eka Brahmana Sahita. Translation: when Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu arrived at southern Mathura from Kamakosti, he met a Brahmana. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
You can continue, Mataji.
Sure. Text 179 to 193. The Brahmana who met Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu invited the Lord to his home. This Brahmana was a great devotee and an authority on Lord Sri Ramachandra. He was always detached from material activities. After bathing in the river Rithamala, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu went to the Brahman's house to take lunch, but he saw the food was unprepared because the Brahmanas had not cooked it. Seeing this, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu said, "My dear sir, please tell me why you have not cooked. It is already known." The Brahmana replied, "My dear Lord, we are living in the forest. For the time being, we cannot get all the ingredients for cooking. When Lakshmana brings all the vegetables, fruits and roots from the forest, Sita will do the necessary cooking." Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu was very, very satisfied to hear about the Brahmana's method of worship. Finally, the Brahmana hastily made arrangements of cooking. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu took his lunch at about 3 o'clock, but the Brahmana, being very sorrowful, feasted while the Brahmana fasted. While the Brahmana was fasting, Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu asked him, "Why are you fasting? Why are you so unhappy? Why are you so worried?" The Brahmana replied, "I have no reason to live. I shall give up my life by entering either fire or water. My dear sir, Mother Sita is the mother of the universe and the supreme goddesses of fortune. She has been touched by the demon Ravana, and I am troubled upon hearing this news. Sir, due to my unhappiness, I cannot continue living. Although my body is burning, my life is not leaving." Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu replied, "Please do not think this way any longer. You are a learned Pandita. Why don't you consider the case?"
Thank you, Mata. We covered a lot of points. Let's digest this. So basically, Lord Chaitanya was on his South India tour, and this place, he met Kamakoshti, he met a Brahmana. Now look at the devotion of this Brahmana. He's into the pastimes. Oh, Sita Mata is going to cook, Lakshmana is going to get the ingredients. And there are multiple pastimes like these in our scriptures, and like absorbed in the Leela. totally absorbed in the pastime. And then finally he offered late lunch, but he was still fasting. Why? Because he was sad. Why was he sad? Because when he was reading the Ramayana, he was into the pastime. He was into the pastime that the evil Ravana has touched the pure Mata Sita. I will give up my life. I cannot see this. That how can a demoniac evil Ravana touch the pure Sita? Then Lord Chaitanya begins to speak. Let's see what Lord said. Who wants to read this part?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu continued, Sita Devi, the dearmost wife of the Supreme Lord, Ramchandra, certainly has a spiritual form full of bliss. No one can see her with material eyes, for no materialist has such power. To say nothing of touching Mother Sita, a person with material senses cannot even see her. When Ravana kidnapped her, he kidnapped only her material, illusory form. As soon as Ravana arrived before Sita, she disappeared. Then just to cheat Ravana, she sent an illusory material form. Text 194. Aprakrita vastuna he prakrita gochara Veda Puranete Eikohe Nirantara. Translation. Spiritual substance is never within the jurisdiction of the material conception. This is always the verdict of the Vedas and Puranas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the Katha Upanishad 2.3.9.12. Na sandarse tishtati rupam asya na chakshura pasyati kascha nainam Ridi manisha manasa vikalpita ya itad vidur amritaste bhavanti naiva vachana manasa praptum sakyana chakshusha. Spirit is not within the jurisdiction of material eyes, words, or mind. Similarly, Srimad-Bhāgavatam 10.84.13 states, Yashatma buddhi kuna petri dhatuke swadhihi kalatradishu boma jyadhi yattirtha buddhihi salilena karhi chij janiswa avigneshu sa eva gokaraha. A human being who identifies his body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of his body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of his birth worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to take a bath, rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like an ass or a cow. This, Prabhuji will complete up to this in the second, the last part. Okay. There are some Vedic statements about spiritual substance. Spiritual substance cannot be seen by the unintelligent because they do not have the eyes or the mentality to see the spirit soul. Consequently, they think that there is no such thing as spirit. But the followers of the Vedic injunctions take their information from Vedic statements such as the verses from the Katha Upanishad and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam quoted above. Back to
Thank you. So basically, Lord Chaitanya clarified that Srimati Sita Devi is the internal energy of the Lord. And how can the pure spiritual internal energy of the Lord touched by matter? The spirit cannot be touched by matter. Spirit is not within the jurisdiction of our material eyes. We cannot see. Some people say, hey, can you show me soul? Can you show me God? Can you show me, spiritual energy through? We cannot see that. We can only see through bhakti. Bhaktya mama vijananti. Maya javanika channam agya dhokshajam avyayam na lakshase mood disha nato natya dharoyata. To see material things, we need material tools. For example, we use telescope to see far, distance. We use a measuring tape to measure the length of an object or something. We use a weighing machine to measure the weights, pounds, kilograms, etc. To see spiritual things, we need spiritual eyes. We need to spiritualize our eyes, and that's basically bhakti yoga process. Then we'll be able to see things in the true perspective. So Lachtan in short mentioned that don't worry, Ramana, Sita Devi cannot be touched by the evil materialistic Ravana. Let's read some comments by Maharaj. Who wants to read this part? Anyone wants to read? You can't throw, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa, everyone. Prabhuji, we know, right? Comment from Giriraj Swami. We know from Srila Prabhupada, from the bhāgavata-sevayā Sindhu, Nama Chintamanai Krishnas, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Sudo Nitya Mukto, Abhidnatvam Namiho, Namino, Nama Chaitanya Krishna. The holy name of Krishna is Krishna himself. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It is a form of rasa, the reservoir of pleasure. It is Purna, complete, Shuddha, pure, and Nityaṁ, always free from material contaminations. Why? Because there is no difference between the holy name of Krishna and the possessor of the name Krishna himself. Abhinatvam namino. Now the question arises, since the Lord is spiritual and beyond the jurisdiction of material senses, how can one with materially covered senses touch or chant and hear the holy name of Krishna? In the next verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami explains, Ata Śrī Krishna nama ati na bhaved grahyam indriya shevano mukhi ki jihvadu swayam eva sprutya ada. Ata means thereafter, as in athatu brahma jignasa. Ata, therefore, that is, the holy name of Krishna is completely spiritual like Krishna. One cannot chant or hear the names of the holy name, touch the holy name with materially contaminated senses. However, if we engage our senses in the service of the Lord and the Lord becomes pleased with our service, and then the Lord will reveal himself to us. In other words, although we cannot perceive the Lord with materially contaminated senses, the Lord can reveal himself to us when he is pleased by our service. He can purify our senses and make himself visible to us. When even a sadhaka, a devotee who is practicing devotion service, cannot touch even the holy name of the Lord. How can a demon like Ravana see or touch Mother Sita, who is directly the spiritual energy of the Lord? It is impossible. What Ravana saw and touched was not the original Sita, but Maya Sita, an illusionary representation of the original Sita. The Lord Chaitanya was consoling the Brahmana, don't lament that Mother Sita has been touched by a demon Ravana. The demon Ravana couldn't even see her. What to speak to touch her? There is no need to lament. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Any comments, Prabhu, from this understanding, this reading?
yeah, a couple of points which was again I can't say as one similar, like a couple of days back when Chikika and I were talking about material things and spiritual things. Chikika asked me, why don't we see the spiritual things? That's the same question which she asked, and I couldn't answer it at that time. I mean, I tried to answer, but obviously it's not possible for me to explain it because I don't have that intelligence at that point even now. But this kind of explains it, that it's more, we have material senses with which we cannot see the spiritually connected items or connected energy. Here, what I understood is like even Ravana is like us in a better position, which is like he is materially opulent, and he thinks that he gained he controlled everything, but he's just controlling his material senses, but he was not spiritually elevated, or he's not at that position where he can see think spiritually. If he was seeing spiritual things, then probably he wouldn't have done that mistake of taking away taking Sita away from Rama. So it's always that a devotee can always aspire to see, oh, I'm doing the devotion to bhakti to Lord, but he's not giving me anything materially. People like me think that way, but we cannot see it, but it's more like we have to be in the process of bhakti to even get that blessing for him to get the taste of it. We have to be spiritually elevated to get that real sense. Śrīla Prabhupada, Goswami, they are Goswamis are really elevated, and they had really seen the taste of it, through which we are able to understand how much sweet nectar was it, and we are trying to be in the process of bhakti and understanding some of those writings. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please correct me if I said something wrong.
Yeah, thank you for your realizations, bro. I really like this comment as well here. Even a sadhaka means who's trying to do sadhana, cannot even touch the holy name, right? The holy name is so pure. So we are practicing to chant holy name. We're not chanting pure holy name. At least, sorry, I can't talk about myself, not all of you. A sadhaka who is sincerely trying to chant the holy name cannot even touch the holy name, what to speak of Ravana. So in short, Lord Chaitanya gave multiple reasons that how the pure spirit cannot be touched by materialistic personal matter. Okay, let's read a little bit more. Yeah, Shilpa Mata, do you want to say something?
Prabhuji, one quick question that's good that Ekan Prabhu brought it up, right? Usually kids ask what exactly is spiritual life, or how do we differentiate, right? Can we say something like, to keep it in short, can we say something like it's a kind of a feeling, a good feeling, a bhakti feeling, because I myself is not to that point. Of course, we feel sometimes, example like the Radha Yatra that we had, right? It is completely, I can clearly say that it's transcendental at that point, with the weather and with the holy name, with the dancing and so forth. And when we close our eyes, it's so much of a happy feeling with the God. We can feel it, but for the kids, to be simple and explainable, what would you say?
That what is spiritual life? Is
Yeah.
that the question?
Correct, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm. Spiritual life is basically the art of living a life keeping Krishna, the Supreme Lord, as the center. That's spiritual life. Yes, Tatyatra, reading Bhagavatam, these are the very important elements of that spiritual life. But it's not just that. Spiritual life means 24 hours. One is one's life centered around spirit, right? Spiritual life. Life centered around spirit, or the Supreme Brahman, which is Krishna, is spiritual life. Life centered around materialistic activities is material life. Simple, right? So a devotee or a spiritualist has a spiritual goal, Krishna consciousness. She also has a job, family, kids, home, car, mortgage, XYZ, multiple things, which a non-devotee materialistic also has a job, business, family, car, etc., etc. But the focus of a devotee or a spiritualist is spirit, in Supreme Spirit, to develop the connection of the Atma to Paramatma, or to develop devotion to God. But the focus of a materialistic person is sense gratification. The wealth is towards sense gratification. The family is towards sense gratification. The home, the car, everything is centered around sense gratification. How can I enjoy more? How can I grab more? How can I, gratify myself and my extended self? Extended self means family, community, etc. That's material life versus spiritual life. So spiritual life is not just, festivals, etc. That's certainly there, but it's every day. One does job for Krishna. One does study, not because I want to prove I'm the best student, because I want to offer the best grades to the Lord. That's spiritual life, actually. I want to keep my body healthy, so I need to do some exercise. I need to do some yoga, pranayama, etc., so that my body can be healthy. Now, a materialistic can also do that, but materialistic, why do a lot of people do all these big gyms and this and that? To attract opposite sex. Pretty simple. But a devotee, that's not his objective or her objective of keeping the body healthy. The devotee's objective is so I can serve better. Right? So spiritual life is not what we do, is what intention we do. That makes the whole difference between material and spirit. The intention, the reasoning, why we are doing something. Does that help?
Sure, Prabhu. Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughtful question.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, I'd like to share
Yes, please.
one Prabhupada's quote. Remember, Prabhupada says, you can't see Krishna and you do not have spiritual eyes because you have cataracts in his eye. To come to me, I will cure your cataracts. So my son once he asked me, did you see Krishna? You were saying Krishna, why can't you see? He asked me once. So I remembered then Prabhupada's quote that we are fallen souls. That's why we are here in this world, because we forget Krishna. So, and we have cataracts in our eyes. That Prabhupada said. That's why I can't see. So, that's to share.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful quote, Mataji. Yes, that's why we are trying to overcome that diseased condition through the process of chanting Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Right? Someone shared this video. Did you all see this? Lust, anger, ego. You've seen that? You know what I'm referring to? The water. You know what I'm referring to? Which video?
Yes, Prabhuji, all lust, anger, everything, and then you pour bhakti into it, everything gets purified.
Yes. Did you all see it?
Yes,
No?
Prabhuji, yes. Yes.
And Sudeep Prabhu, you saw it. Others, did you all want me to share or show it real quick?
Yes, Prabhu.
Have you seen that?
No,
Or you want me to show? Okay.
haven't. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll show it real quick here. It's only 1 minute, but it's very powerful. So just loading. Okay. Isn't that powerful? Short and sweet message that no matter how diseased we may be, all we have to do is keep pouring the fresh water of Krishna consciousness. So yes, through going to Rath Yatra, through going to festival, doing seva, chanting, reading Bhagavatam, etc., will help us to cure our disease faster. The more, the fresh water, if you put only 1 drop, let's say, 1 drop a day, then it will take a lot more time, right? or how about 1 drop a year? Only in Janmashtami going to the temple, then it will take more time. It will get clean, but by the time a lot of colorful drops are also coming, the black, the yellow. So we have to make sure that the supply of pure water, which is Krishna consciousness, is much high, and it's cut down the supply of, not put more dirty water. And then eventually the container of our heart, our consciousness, will have only pure water. That's why we're all here. And that's basically Chaitanya Marjanam. Is that okay? Okay, let's read maybe 1 or 2 more lines. She wants to read, so Akshay Prabhu, you can read.
Yes, Prabhu. Do I start with text 195? Vishvasa kara tumi amara vachane punarapi ku bhavanana kariha mane. Translation and comment. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu then assured the Brahmana, have faith in my words and do not burden your mind any longer with this misconception. This is the process of spiritual understanding. Achintya kahulye bhavanatams tarkena yojayet. We should not try to understand things beyond a material conception by argument and counter-argument. Mahajano yena gata sa panta. We have to follow in the footsteps of great authorities coming down in the parampara system. If we approach a bona fide acharya and keep faith in his words, spiritual realization will be easy. In the material world, everyone is acting independently. Actually, people are not independent, but they imagine themselves to be independent. They want you to think for themselves. They want to think for themselves, see for themselves, make their own decisions, make their own plans. Even when they come to a subject of God, they keep the same attitude. I don't need anyone to tell me about God. I can think for myself. I can decide for myself, or they can accept some authority according to their liking. Many people go to various authorities and pick and choose what they like from each. And in the end, they find confirmation for whatever they bought or wanted to begin with. What they thought or wanted to begin. This is not the way to understand God. Rather, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master and surrender. Surrender means no wavering to this side or that side. One must remain fixed in submission and obedience to the spiritual master and accept the spiritual master's instructions without arguing. Of course, the whole process is based on faith. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya's first words are Visvasa kara tumi amara vachane. Have faith in my words. If you do, he says, and you will be relieved. But if you don't have faith in his words, then you will go on suffering and nobody will be able to help you. Visvasa kara tumi amara vachane. Punarapi ku bhavana na kariha mane. Have faith in my words and do not burden your mind any longer with this misconception. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji.
No, thank you. What's this misconception here?
That the Brahmana was thinking, if Sita was I don't know the word, but like since Ravana touched her, like something bad might have happened or something. So and that was the misconception, where nothing happened.
Very good. So what do you understand from this reading?
That that one should like when I was reading the one that one must surrender to a guru, it kind of reminded me of 3.34, I think, from Bhagavad Gita, like Tadvidi, because like in that it also said like if one surrenders to guru, they can learn like the absolute truth. So in this it was like kind of like saying the same thing, but like Lord Chaitanya was saying it, and he was saying it to the Brahmana with like a few different words, like, and also with like a few different examples.
Very good. I like your understanding. And I'm glad that now you're quoting Bhagavad Gita as well. What's that verse? You know the full verse?
Yes, Guruji. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya updekshandi nanam nani nastatva darshana.
Good. So we should follow the great soul. Bhakti is a descending process. It's not that bhakti is, oh, I think God is this. I think there's no God. I think everyone is God. I think you are God. I think I am God. I think we all will become God. That's nonsense. Right? In the material world, if I ask, hey, do you know how to operate if someone has cancer, it's a brain tumor, can you tell me how you will fix it? What will most people say? Sorry, I don't know, right? Most people will say, unless one is an expert in that field, right? Even it's not that every doctor can also say, yes, I know how to fix it, right? Only very expert doctor who has done deep study and deep experience in that field will comment about it, right? You all agree with that? Tom, Dick, Harry, like me and most of you, I guess, also who are not doctors, who are not experts in that field, will say, sorry, Baba, I don't know about it, right? I don't know, which is fine. I don't need to know everything in the world. And it's impossible. But you ask anyone in the world, a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 20-year-old, 100-year-old, male, female, Indian, American, anyone, everyone, you say, can you tell something about God? No one will say, I don't know. Someone will say, I think God is this. I think there is no God. I think I am God. I think you'll also become God. I think we are all gods. I think God is love. I think nature is God. I think I am God. I think this is God. I think everyone is, they will not, the first step is to not speculate and approach a spiritual master because they have seen the truth. Tattvadarshi, they are Tattvadarshi. We should approach them and learn from them. Even materialistic study, we approach a teacher, school, college, professor, then learn from them. We don't speculate. The same with spiritual side. So the Brahmana was kind of thinking, hey, how this, Mata Sita was touched by the evil Ravana. So, but Lord Chaitanya said, Vishwasa Purna. Vishwasa kori tumhi amara vachana. Lord Chaitanya is also the Supreme Guru, Supreme Lord. So we should have faith in the words of scriptures, faith in the word of Guru Sadhusha. They're not going to cheat us like ordinary people. Purna api kubhavana, all our kubhavana, bad misconceptions, no kari hamani, and not let those demons of doubts creep in again and again. This is bhakti. So I know the article is quite long. We have only covered like 30%. If we do the full, it will take like 9:30. So I don't want to bother you all. But we did discuss an important section. And this doubt may come across our minds as well, or someone may ask us this question: how could evil Ravana touch Mata Sita? So we can also share these verses from the Śrī-Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And we also discuss in the first 10-20 minutes about the Shakatasura as well. Any quick comments before we pause for today? Okay, so
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you're done? We're at
Yeah.
Bankim Prabhu home, so we were thinking of singing for Prabhuji.
oh, that would be amazing.
And yeah, without cake, we don't come, right, Prabhuji? So, so we can do a small, if you're okay. Otherwise, we'll
yeah,
just sing.
yeah.
Prabhuji.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Bankim Prabhu ki jai.